What makes us act, think, or feel the way we do? Why can two people face the same challenge and react completely differently? The Principles of Psychology by William James explores these timeless questions, showing how human behavior, thought, and emotion are shaped by both biology and experience. This classic work laid the foundation for modern psychology, revealing how the mind adapts, learns, and creates meaning in every moment. The stream of consciousness. James viewed the human mind not as a collection of isolated thoughts, but as a continuous flowing stream of consciousness. Thoughts move fluidly, one leading to another, forming the experience of being alive. They cannot be separated without losing their meaning. Imagine walking down a quiet street when the smell of rain reminds you of your childhood. Suddenly, one memory sparks another, creating a chain of feelings and reflections. That is how consciousness works, always moving, always evolving. Modern neuroscience supports this, showing that brain networks for memory and imagination overlap, allowing the mind to blend past, present, and future into a single mental flow. Habit and human behavior. James believed habits form the foundation of human life. Every action, thought, and emotion repeated over time becomes a groove in the nervous system. Once established, it guides behavior automatically. Picture waking up, brushing your teeth, or tying your shoes. You do it without effort because your brain has built efficient patterns. James argued that habits make life possible, but can also imprison us. Changing a habit means rewiring both the brain and daily environment. Later studies by Charles Duhigg and neuroscientists at MIT confirmed James's early theory, showing that habits are loops of cue, routine, and reward stored in the basal ganglia, a region responsible for automatic behavior. Attention and willpower. James described attention as the spotlight of the mind, the power to select what matters and ignore the rest. Without attention, no learning or focus can exist. Willpower, he said, is the ability to hold that spotlight steady. When a student studies in a noisy cafe, concentrating despite distractions, that is the will directing attention. Training attention strengthens character, just as physical exercise strengthens the body. Research from Stanford and Harvard has shown that focused attention activates the prefrontal cortex, enhancing decision-making and emotional control exactly as James predicted more than a century ago. The self and identity. James divided the self into two parts, the I and the me. The I is the thinker, the experiencer, the inner observer. The me is the collection of everything one can call their own body, possessions, relationships, and social identity. A person losing a job might feel devastated because the me tied to career and status has been shaken. But the I, the conscious awareness behind those roles, remains untouched. Real growth begins when the I recognizes that identity is flexible, not fixed. This view echoes modern psychological ideas of self-concept and mindfulness, teaching that detachment from rigid identities allows emotional freedom, emotion, and the body. James introduced one of psychology's most revolutionary ideas. Emotions are not purely mental, they are physical responses first. According to the James Longa theory, we feel afraid because we tremble, not the other way around. The body reacts and the mind interprets. Standing before a crowd, your palms sweat, your heart races, your stomach tightens. These physical cues create the feeling of anxiety. The bodily response changes, say, by deep breathing or relaxation. The emotion shifts as well. Modern studies on biofeedback and emotion regulation validate this connection, proving that changing physiology can reshape emotional experience. The psychology of belief. James believed that belief shapes perception. The mind does not simply record reality, it interprets it through expectation and conviction. A patient convinced that recovery is possible often heals faster than one who has given up. The placebo effect is a powerful example. Belief alters the body's chemistry. James argued that faith, when grounded in possibility, activates the will and directs action toward success. This concept has influenced positive psychology and cognitive therapy, showing that belief is not fantasy. It is a psychological force that can transform outcomes. The subconscious mind. Long before Freud, James explored the hidden layers of the mind. He believed the subconscious stores forgotten experiences, emotions, and skills that quietly guide daily life. Think of driving home while lost in thought, arriving safely without remembering each turn. The subconscious handled it. James saw this as proof that human consciousness extends beyond what is currently noticed, operating on multiple levels at once. Contemporary neuroscience affirms this, showing that the brain processes vast amounts of information below conscious awareness, shaping intuition and decision-making, learning, and adaptation. Human beings are born not with fixed instincts, but with the capacity to learn. James described learning as the mind's way of adapting to the environment. Repetition strengthens connections in the brain, forming habits of thought as well as behavior. A musician practicing scales or a speaker rehearsing words trains both mind and body until performance becomes second nature. Through this, James links psychology to education, emphasizing that character and intelligence can be cultivated through intentional practice. The will to believe. One of the most inspiring insights in the book is the will to believe. James wrote that when evidence alone cannot decide, our willingness to act on faith determines growth. Waiting for certainty often means waiting forever. Consider an entrepreneur who launches a new idea without knowing if it will succeed. The decision to move forward creates momentum that shapes reality. James viewed this as courage in the face of uncertainty, the very essence of human progress. Modern psychology agrees that taking initiative builds confidence, turning belief into experience, conscious effort, and freedom. For James, freedom lies in choice. While instincts and habits influence behavior, conscious effort allows transformation. Each moment offers the chance to act differently, to create new pathways in the brain. Someone who decides to respond with patience instead of anger rewires emotional circuits, proving that personality is not destiny. In this sense, psychology becomes a map for liberation, a science that empowers will and awareness. The legacy of William James. The Principles of Psychology is not merely a book about the mind. It is a guide to living consciously. It reminds us that attention creates reality, habits shape destiny, and belief directs action. James merged science with humanism, showing that understanding the mind is the first step toward mastering life itself. Over a century later, his ideas remain the backbone of modern psychology, influencing fields from education to therapy and neuroscience. Final takeaway challenge. Observe your thoughts as they flow. Notice your habits, your attention, your emotional patterns. Each observation is a step toward freedom. Strengthen your will, guide your focus, and shape your own mind with awareness. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more powerful summaries on psychology, personal growth, and human behavior. Keep learning, keep growing, and see you in the next video.